Hello, hello, everyone. Good afternoon. It's Regine, and I decided to do a pop-up lunch and learn because I just wanted to chat about a particular subject that I've been hearing a lot about lately. So, if you don't have any lunch plans for today, or if you're sitting around scrolling through Facebook, checking it out, then why not stop in for a few minutes and maybe you'll pick up a thing or two. So, today's topic is why your prayers aren't working. Now, I know it could be a little controversial and some people may be rolling their eyes and like, what is she talking about? But I'm going to explain everything soon enough. Okay, so thank you for stopping by again. If you were like me, you were raised to believe that, if you pray hard enough, long enough, deserving enough, did enough, that God is going to answer your prayers, right? You were taught that if you were good, if you read the Bible, if you followed the commandments, then you're going to receive your blessings. And many of you probably did what you're doing now, and you're just doing the best that you can, and you're being good, and you're following the rules, and you're playing by all the rules. And sometimes your prayers go unanswered, right? And when that happens, you tell yourself, or others tell you, or you tell others when they tell you that their prayers are not being answered, be patient. It's according to God's timing. It's God's will. And sometimes you may get your prayers answered and you may not get your prayers answered. And it may be inconsistent. And you say, God can give you whatever God desires to give you. And if God doesn't give you what you want, well, you just, that's just God's will, and that's what it is. We just got to accept it and you move on. But I have a question. I have a question for you. What if God has already given you everything God's going to give you? What if God has already given you everything that God's going to give you? What if you already have it? So, do you believe that you were made in the image and likeness of God? I really want you to sit with that for a second. Do I believe that I'm made in the image and likeness of God? And then I want you to really sit with, what does that mean? What does that really mean to me? What does that really mean to me, to be made in the image and likeness of God? You may have to ask yourself, well, what is God to me? Right? What are the qualities or the characteristics of God? And there's some basics that may come up. God is love, God is peace, God is joy, God is abundance, right? And if I'm made in the image and likeness of God, does that mean that I am joy, I am peace, I am abundance, I am prosperity, I am perfect health, I am infinite, I am creative, I am powerful? Does that mean that or not? I don't know. What do you think? Let me know. What does that mean, to be made in the image and likeness of God? I believe that if that's true, then what else do I need? What else do you need? Right? So if you are made after creation itself, with the ability to create, what else could I need? That's just a question. What else could you need? Ask yourself that. Right? What am I praying for? When you pray, What is it that you're praying for every day? What are you praying for? Do you believe that when you ask, it is given? Or that it may be given sometimes? If you're good enough, it may be given. If you pray a certain way, it may be given. If you're a good person, it may be given. If you believe a certain thing, it may be given. If you go to a particular church, it may be given. Or do you believe that the law, the principle says, ask and it shall be given, as if it's automatic? So maybe, this is just a maybe. I don't know, this is just a maybe. Maybe, instead of focusing on asking God or praying to God to do something, maybe your focus should be on your ability to receive. Does that make sense to anybody? And do you see how those are two completely different ways of looking at things? It's a completely different paradigm shift to go from I'm waiting on God to give me something. I'm waiting on God to bless me. I'm praying to God to do something for me. That's very different than I'm going to focus on my ability to receive. Because I believe that, number one, if I ask, it's automatically given, so it's given to me. And number two, I'm made in the image and likeness of a creator, of the creator, right? The ultimate creating machine, right? So that means I am a creator. It has to mean that. Like, what else could that mean? And I want to know, does this make sense? Is this resonating with you somewhere deep inside? Are you thinking, yeah, I think that's right? And if it's not resonating with you, or if you've never heard this, or maybe you have, but, really haven't lived according to that, I think part of our problem, or our issue, I don't want to call it a problem, our issue is that we don't want to be responsible for our lives. Because now, if I believe in those two things and I begin to apply those two things in my life, number one, that I am made in the image and likeness of the Creator, that I am a creating machine, and number two, when I ask, it's automatically given, so I have to work on my ability to receive, then that means that I'm responsible for my life, right? And it may be easier for God to be responsible for how things work or doesn't work, or for some other third party or some other element or some other person to be responsible for what happens in my life. But what do you think life would look like if you really said to yourself, I am responsible for my life. It's up to me. What would you do differently if you believe that? What would you do differently? How would you approach your life if you were ultimately responsible for every and anything that happens to you? I believe that's the case. I believe that we either have to know this truth about who and what we are, or say, I'm not created in the image and likeness of God, and so therefore I don't have creative powers, and therefore things can just happen to me because I am here as a not a participant, but more of a bystander in life. And you know what happens to bystanders? Things happen, right? So if you're a bystander in your life, then life can just happen to you, and it depends on where you are. But if you're an actual creator of your life, then that means that you're responsible for your life. And so, I wanted to pose these questions to you because I believe that it's really more about your process of answering these questions for yourself, right? But if somewhere deep inside this is resonating with you, and you want to know more, and you're curious about how your life could be changed as a result of you thinking about yourself in this different way, then I want to invite you to a masterclass, a workshop that I'm hosting on Sunday. This Sunday, April 29th. It's a 2-hour workshop from 3 to 5 p.m. And the purpose of this workshop is to begin to help us learn how to use our creative powers to create. Our power of imagination to create. And this is going to be cool because it's going to be a live video conference, and not like a Facebook Live where you see me and you can only, type in, but I can't see you and we can't interact. So this is going to be where we interact. I see you, you see me, and we can talk to each other, because I really want us to go deep and learn and help each other, right? Begin to accept the idea that, wow, I may be responsible for my life. So let me tell you what we're going to cover in those 2 hours. The first is we're going to talk about the difference between wishing and fantasizing and visualizing, and why it is so critical to know the difference, right? Why it's so important for you to know when you're praying and wishing and hoping versus when you are in the driver's seat and actually creating and visualizing. We're also going to talk about how you are doing it every day. You are creating your life every day. You are visualizing every day. You are using your imagination every day. That's how your life is being created. But most of us, we're not using it for our benefit. We're not using it intentionally and purposely, right? We are focusing on what we see, and as a result, we just get more of that. And then we are not taking responsibility for what's happening in our lives. So we're going to talk about how you're already using these tools, but how you can learn to use them for your benefit. And then we're going to go step by step, where I'm going to walk you through a step-by-step process by which you can start to learn and use your powers. Use your powers for good, because you have these powers. They were given to you from the beginning. And how you can learn to use the power of your imagination and visualizing to create the life that you want. And the best part is we're going to do this in class together. We're going to do this in class together. And so you can get feedback right away about how the process is going for you. So we're going to be able to ask questions, answer questions, get feedback, and do this all live on a video conference. It's going to be so much fun, so engaging, so much to learn. And I really, really, really do hope that you come and join us. If you are interested in this, I'm going to post the link below this video. I want you to share this with your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your family, your whomever, your frenemies, because it's really important for us to start to take responsibility for our lives, and that gives us the freedom to create the lives that we desire. It is so possible. It is so possible, but it requires a different approach to who you are and what the possibilities are for your life. So I hope to see you this Sunday, April 29th at 3 o'clock for my 2-hour workshop. It's going to be so powerful. You're going to walk away with answers and tools that's going to help you on Monday morning for sure. So you don't want to miss this. Please share this with anyone else you think that may be interested and may be able to benefit from this. I will see you on Sunday. Thanks for stopping in. Lunch and Learn. Bye.